Let's kick off week 11. More than 50 episodes of the NewsX BW Atmanirbhar Bharat roundtable sessions that we have been having here live on the broadcast. We have had hundreds of entrepreneurs, some of the greatest minds in India, some of the greatest thinkers, planners, statisticians, telling us what is the pulse of India's economy. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? And how do we really push that forward? Let's kick off this episode. Let me introduce everyone on the panel this evening. We have Mr. Sunny Nandwani. He's founder and managing partner at Acquer Consulting. Mr. Harsh Talwar, he's founder and CEO of Cash for Phone. Mr. Ram Malay, he is CEO of WebConf Meetings. Mr. Rajesh Panda, founder and CEO of Corporate Gurukul. And Ms. Devanshi Shah, she's founder of Pet Connect. And as always, Dr. Anurag Batra, Editor-in-Chief of BW, joining us on the broadcast. Anurag ji, set up today's panel for us.
No, anything is possible in politics, but miracles happen in entrepreneurship. Let me say that. Let me start with Sunny. Sunny, where is the Indian economy headed? When do you see the demand coming back? And has there been an impact of the economic stimulus? What are your opening comments? Unmute yourself.
Thank you. First of all, thank you. It's my privilege to share the screen with other eminent panelists. So I'll talk about maybe, let's say like we have this multiple initiatives announced by the government, the Atmanirbhar initiative, right? So what my view is being self-reliant, which basically translates into being self-reliant. Now, this is to be noted like it is not a new idea. This has been existing. We have even seen multiple governments before it, even let's say to the likes of our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, his own Swaraj movement and every Swadeshi movement, they were two sides of the same coin. It was like, it was not against globalization, it was towards making sure that you make your ecosystem villages self-sufficient, right? But what is different now is the focus this government has brought in. When I talk about our honorable Prime Minister, like if you see, like we started with Made in India, right? Now you talk about Atmanirbhar, both mean the same concept, right? But the whole, like it gives you that it is in its top-notch goal, right? So the difference you see here, like they want this, and whatever we have seen the Prime Minister, he's passionate, and we have known him as a big taskmaster. So we expect him as an entrepreneur also to make remarkable progress in that area.
But tell us about the impact. What is the impact of the economic stimulus? When you talk to entrepreneurs around you, are you seeing an impact? The economy continues to be tepid. Of course, we have to look at sectoral impact. So I want to go to Rajesh. Rajesh, you heard Sunny make his opening remarks. What are your opening remarks? Has the economic stimulus made a difference? Where is the economy headed? When do you see demand coming back?
Yeah, first of all, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's wonderful being here with the eminent panelists. The impact has been global, as all of you know, and it has been huge. So India is no exception. In these times, as Sunny was also mentioning, Atmanirbhar is what essentially everybody is looking at. Whether you look at US, China, everybody is looking inwards and saying, how do we reserve and manage our assets, our economy, our money, all of that. And I think it's the same for India. If you look at any country, I'm based in Singapore, Singapore is doing that. I think US is doing that for quite some time. China will be increasingly doing that. So India is no exception. So it is one of the top global economies today, India, and it has to do the same. It has been an impact. When you ask me when will it recover, I don't think any company is giving any statistics as to what will be their outlook over the next few quarters. So
what's your sense? We're here for your sense and your input. What's your sense? When you see entrepreneurs around you, what is the sense you get?
I think entrepreneurs are very highly spirited people, as you rightly said at the beginning of the session, and they always look at new ways. In fact, our whole pedagogy is based on the Gurukul system, and that is all about understanding yourself, your strengths, and trying to express it in the best way that you can. So entrepreneurs, I think, globally are very positive, and there is stimulus from the government.
Let's talk specifically India. I know the education sector, the edutech sector is blossomed in this pandemic. But I
Absolutely.
need specific comments. I don't need general comments from you. I need specific inputs from you. We know it's been tough. What we are looking at is specific comments and not general comments. Coming to Devanshi, what have you done as an entrepreneur to pivot your business? Tell us a bit about your business and tell us how has it impacted your business? What are the positives? What are the negatives? How do you see entrepreneurs around you?
Firstly, thank you so much, Anurag and the team for having me here amidst all of these panelists. It's great to be here. Talking about my industry, as the name suggests, Pet Connect belongs to the pet and the animal care sector, where India's largest online community for pet care services. Of course, so though pet industry as a whole is one of the largest one of the fastest growing industry globally, it's made up of many small businesses. And when I talk about businesses included in the pet care sector, they include the smaller shops that provide you accessories and clothing for pets. It includes small service providers such as your groomers, your trainers, your lodging and boarding service providers, the vets. So basically, though the industry is massive because of the expenditure that takes place for pets, the industry is essentially of small businesses. So honestly, the stimulus that's being provided for small businesses has should have a great impact, and I'm actually really optimistic to see the outcome that it has. The benefits for the MSME sectors that have been announced by a finance minister recently, I would, it'd be great if we see them get implemented sooner than later. As we know, the farmers will transfer the smaller amounts, the amounts that they had budgeted. I hope the other small businesses also get the benefits sooner to help them come back and recover from the problems that were caused by COVID. So of course, because of the lockdown and because of the general fear that has been existing, in not just in India but in the world as a whole, people have stopped, spending, going out with their pets, or even spending on products because of the, sheer, fear.
Has your domain and your business been impacted negatively or positively?
So we've had a mixed reaction there. Just at the start of coronavirus, when all the vets and other shops stopped practice, we at Pet Connect, in fact, introduced a 24-hour vet on-call service. So it's helped pet parents, and the expenditures have, seen a little rise. But the problem continues to remain that because of loss of jobs of pet parents and other income deficiencies, the expenditure in the industry as a whole has gone down, and the growth levels have gone down. So yes, some services on Pet Connect have seen a growth, and some have seen a slack, such as the service providers aggregation section, wherein because people are wary of going to service providers and meeting people outside, we at Pet Connect have also taken a hit. So it's kind of it's the good and the bad.
Okay, Devyanshi. Ram, your opening comments on how has it impacted your business? Where do you see the economy going? And what are you doing to pivot your business?
Yeah. I mean, we have three verticals. One is services sector, the other one is product development, the other one very recently we have scaled it up as a product in e-commerce services and online services. Obviously, the traditional business has seen a lot of shrink in terms of the client.
When you say a lot of shrink, 30%, 40%, 50%.
Yeah, I mean, it again depends on the clients, but for us, it's specifically like 20-25% dip in it. But when it comes to the online marketplace, we have grown by 300% before COVID and after COVID. One of the examples is we do have an e-commerce division of our own. We manage e-commerce portfolio. Also, we help clients to make them e-commerce. So what happened is, example, one of the categories we sell diapers online. So now many people are afraid because of the COVID issues and other stuff. So people are tending to, their interest is to buy online, right? So obviously we are making sure that customers are well protected with some basic proactive measures from our side, like sanitation of what you call packaging and other stuff. So clients are pretty much sure that they're not in a what you call risky situation. So they're happy to place more and more orders. So, and moreover, the order volume also increased because of the nature of the business. So they don't want to buy
So,
again and
you had a positive impact in the online marketplace business, where, of course, given the nature of the environment, naturally online commerce has gone up.
correct.
Harsh, your opening comments on what is happening in your sector, where do you see the economy headed, and when do you think the demand will be back fully? You'll have to unmute yourself, Harsh. Unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are now.
Thanks, Anurag, for having me here. So, from an industry perspective, I represent the e-commerce part of the sector. We are into allowing users to get rid of their existing devices. So, we are a platform where you can sell your old phone, your laptop, and gadgets. So, and then we do doorstep repairs as well. So, post-COVID, we saw a huge demand surge exactly the moment we started operation post-COVID. So we've seen an upside of 50% in our orders that we got. But slowly and gradually, we see the quantum going down because for last 2 months, users were not really able to get their devices repaired, and they had no options to sell their old devices. So while we see seasonality here, because gradually it's going to go down, but coming next week or a couple of weeks from now, Diwali sales are going to start on e-commerce platforms, which is going to increase the sales on our platform as well. So that we are pretty positive from that context. Talking about the economy per se, we see it's all about cash in the hand of the user. It largely depends how soon we are able to ensure that the disposable income increases, and that cycle would automatically start. And post that, the recovery is bound to happen. Every sector, I believe, will see a surge in the initial phase of the recovery, and gradually the demand would go down.
Okay, but Harsh, what's the judgment call you guys are making? I'm just going to interject here because, are you seeing that cash in hand that's actually going to see people buying the new phone, so hence they want to sell the old phone? Or are people going to say, listen, I can hang on to my phone for another year?
Well, see, it is technology, and people do not delay technology upgrade as such. And the platform that we provide a good deal for their existing old phone. So the upgrade really is not more than 20% of the overall cost. So that way we made the upgrades easier, and that's our motto of the organization as well. So we see as and when the disposable income goes up, we will see a spike in demand as well.
Okay, so I'm guessing then we are tracking electronic sales, and electronics is certainly stuff that you can still order and get delivered back home.
Yes.
But in terms of logistics, Harsh, has it been a nightmare? Has it smoothed out?
It has been a nightmare, and I keep hearing that the government is focusing on increasing the manufacturing of spare parts as well in India. So that happens to be a welcome move. Launch of iPhone, or rather manufacturing of and assembling of iPhone in India, is a welcome move, because that will ensure that the logistics as well as the supply of repair parts or spare parts is made available, and that will help the economy.
Okay, that's practical, because you guys of course have to fix it, and some of these parts come from Korea, some from Japan, and a lot of them of course come from China. Sunny Nandwani,
and Taiwan, and Rishabh,
and
Taiwan too.
I believe Vietnam is the next one also. Sunny Nandwani, but when it comes to advising people, what is the logic? Is the logic that, listen guys, here's a golden opportunity. Global winds are changing. The government is in a really get-go mood. The capital is becoming cheaper literally every month. Global capital is as cheap. I think the UK is about to go into negative interest rates. That this is a good time to go for broke, or is it, listen, it's very nervous, let's go easy?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what we have seen. Like one is the immediate impact to the pandemic. When this happened, I think everyone got in a state of shock, and everyone guess was as like a non-expert guy, right? So we saw like basically, so we work with a lot of retail chain in India and global. There were basically two kinds of retailer we could see. One like the essential and non-essential. Now essential was like you see a surge in the demand, but there is no supply, so you have to find out like they had all invested so much time in just in time. Now suddenly that has fallen flat because now you are exposed. The whole it's like China got a cold and everyone is looking for the solution, right? So they were looking how quickly we can get the information insights to switch and have diverse supply. Other non-essential where the demand has totally gone out. So we work with a retailer who have both offline and online. Like in offline, there were a lot of stores who are 100% it was shut down. Like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that happened for a period of time. But now we have seen like that the business is slowly reviving back, and online has really picked up.
No,
Like
but then what would you
digital.
classify as non-essential? Because some people would say now, suddenly buying a car has become essential because, the traditional
want your own
services, public transport
private
ain't happening. So
mobility.
what is essential, non-essential in the new definition?
Yeah, so essentially it's like which I need just for my survival. Like when I talk about the grocery, you see globally people rushing towards toiletries, they were rushing towards getting groceries, right? And then non-essential is like apparel. We saw huge impact to the apparel sector. We have seen like because the seasonality it was the point when they were picking up and they were getting ready for the sales of the summer season. So now the whole inventory, it is unused inventory. What do they do with it? So they
Okay.
needed
Okay.
consulting on that.
Okay. Good point. I think my shirt collars have become to fray a little bit. I could use a couple of new shirts. Anurag, so what is the summation, Anurag? Now we've been having these conversations for what I think this is the 11th week. Are you seeing a trend pattern, in the feedback that we are getting?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Rishabh, what has happened is there are broadly four things that have happened. One, July has been usually better than in most sectors than whatever we expected. So that has given people confidence for the future. Second, what has happened is the fact that you look at the GST collection is back to 85%. So that tells you that there is a lot of activity. Third is entrepreneurs tightened their belts. They went down on cost. For the first time, they focused on cost being lesser than revenue. And fourth, October, November are Diwali months. Whatever they do, even if the sentiment is subdued than last year, it will mean much more sales than in July or August. So clearly things are looking up.
Okay.
However, what is not clear is that there are companies which are startups, mid-sized companies that have ran out of cash and they're in sectors where there's no revival happening.
Yeah.
I think you'll see some more players like that go down. And I want to ask Rajesh, Rajesh in EduTech, even in the new education policy, there's a reference to the Gurukul system. That is what it is modeled on. Tell us what is unique about your venture. How are you differentiated, and what are you doing to make sure, in this very crowded edtech play, how do you thrive?
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for asking that question, which is related to the national education policy. In fact, while everybody was doing online and they built their online companies, we were largely experiential on campus. And that is the traditional Gurukul way. And while everybody was focused on knowledge, we were also focused on practicing and performing, which means applied learning. And we were doing that with the world's best universities, which is National University of Singapore, Nanyang Technological University, which is 1 and 2 in Asia, by the way, and some of the world's top companies. Today we have entrepreneurship with SoftBank. We have Hewlett Packard doing deep learning. So various areas which can be experiential, applied learning, vocational training, which means an engineer, a mechanical engineer can and should fix an automobile, and electrical engineer should be able to fix a fan. So that was missing in the education system, and that is a huge difference. You cannot do that online. It has to be on campus, it has to be guided. So our business was hugely hit. I think you asked that question because it was all experiential on campus in nature. It was all about solving real world problems, understanding the problems in the world and solving it. And if you can't step out as a student out of your house it becomes very difficult to, even interview people and solve it. So that is, in fact, what NEP is now really establishing, right? Right from design thinking, using artificial intelligence, empathy-led research, which we have been doing for the last 10 years, now is mainstream. And so, in a way, Gurukul system is back, because this was all Gurukul. We lost it to Western education, and I'm so glad that it is back in India.
Okay, Ram, coming to you. Technology spending is growing. Every company is a tech venture now. Two things have happened. Every business has to be a social enterprise. It's not just a business and a social enterprise. The second is every business has to be a technology business. Now, if that is happening, how do you see spend on technology going up in the next 6 months? We know in the next 12, 18 months, they'll definitely go up. There's no question about it. But tell us in the next 6 months, what's the outlook?
Yeah. I mean, now technology spend has become a mandate now, not because they have that as part of the roadmap, just because there is no choice because of the pandemic. A lot of companies have got an opportunity to revise their strategy. Now things have slowed down, like manufacturing sectors or a lot of other companies, like even if you consider Zomato or any other kind of bigger online space companies also, like if you consider Oyo, right? Oyo has been one of the biggest sectors in the online market space related to the hospitality and others. Now what they have done, they have transformed themselves. Now I see that there are some other places where they are creating co-working spaces like that. Now business are...
They were doing this even before the COVID down. Anything that, so they acquired a co-working space and they were expanding it. But I would say co-working has become flexi-working. So they were doing it for last 2 years. It's not something that they didn't go with.
For Oyo, it's not their main portfolio, right? So
sure, absolutely.
To adapt to the new norms. Like example, when we compare to our side, right? We were into e-commerce, we were into application development, but we were not providing e-commerce services to clients. Example, now what has happened during COVID, we got an opportunity to sell our platform as service. So if somebody comes, what we are telling is, okay, we have webcon meetings. So like just like Zoom. So to make it more stabilized, it takes some time to make it stabilized and become a big brand like that.
Okay, can you just explain, Ram, can you just explain that, when you're saying the platform itself has become a service now, what were the services otherwise? Were they tailor-made, specific, live event based? What were they based otherwise?
See, normally we were predominantly into application development and services. Let's say if a new company like Ratnadeep or some retail company comes and asks, right, we'll start from scratch, like requirement gathering and what they need, what gaps they want, like that. It essentially, more or less, it used to take like 6 months to 1 year time down. And the capex it takes to invest on the technology is also too high. And the decision-making point of view, customer also need to wait for budget allocation and the financial year starting. All these hurdles used to happen. Now, what we have made a change is, you don't need to wait for too much of the budget allocation and the new financial year to start like that. We have converted our case study and made it as a product itself.
Okay.
So it gives an opportunity.
Okay, so that product is available to others also, but the company saves time that they don't have to go through the process. They buy the product off you. It happens to be tailor-made for them, but maybe somebody else can use it also.
Yeah, just like Shopify like that, right? So what we have done is, we are little different than Shopify. So we are giving complete platform, like strategy, SEO, and onboarding, branding, flyers, and then
so are more people trying to approach you, trying for better systems because it cuts in manpower and there's efficiency boost, or are people holding back on big tech spends?
No, absolutely. Like there is no hesitation, because the biggest player here, the decision maker, is COVID and the shutdown and lockdown process here. Not the CTO, CIO or CEO driving the change, because there is no option left out, because the companies have time to rethink now. So otherwise, normally my experience is, normally companies like 300 crore turnover companies also, they used to take almost 6 months of time to start a new project. Like
so now people are actually, I don't want to use the word vela, but have the time to think to apply their minds,
plus,
and who knows?
Plus, Rishabh, they know if they're not using technology now to leapfrog, possibly they will never be able to do it, because the mindset of even the team members towards technology
True.
and technology being the differentiator and driver has changed. So there is much more acceptance of assimilation of technology,
Correct.
and there is a fear of missing out.
No, correct.
you
No,
know,
otherwise, this would have been six different live units, and I would have had to arrange a studio for Mr. Panda in Singapore, and that's not the case anymore. Things have very dramatically changed. Devanshi, in a community building platform, when people have more time on their hands, and of course, pets become part of family. Does a greater engagement of your community result in some sort of greater revenue for you?
So while, like I said, in the previous answer as well, COVID has done a bunch of good things for my industry and our company Pet Connect as well. The first one, as you rightly said, is the engagement, because people have started spending a lot of time at home and with their pets. The social media part of Pet Connect, wherein people make posts and interact with each other and, sort of build a community and talk, pose questions, share experiences, that has grown, exponentially, and we see a lot of really adorable posts. Revenue-wise, not really, because, people, like I mentioned earlier, people have been avoiding spending of absolute necessities. So yes, when it came to spending on speaking to vets, which was an alternative to actually visiting one amidst COVID, we did see a surge in revenues. When it also came to, what not many people know is there is a dog tax, which is levied by the municipalities, and your dogs have to be registered. So this is another section when we educated people. This was another section which saw a surge in revenues.
Interesting.
The people, because they had more time at hand to, kind of learn about this and think about it, they have taken the initiative of registering their pets.
Anurag Batra, for a lot of people watching this broadcast, right, and lay people like me included, a lot of the products and specifications that are available, until you realize that there's something is there, perhaps you never knew you needed to do it. I think Devanshi gave a good example that people who didn't know that you have to register your pets until they realized, then volunteered to do it. So how many of these products are we seeing that a lot of people just don't know are out there because companies aren't even being able to get their customer acquisition done or get their brand out there?
Okay, see, I think different strokes for different folks. One, it depends on what industry you are. Second, it depends on where you are in terms of your company's life cycle. So if you're an early stage company which is funded a lot, then still market share remains a goal. Though the kind of money one would burn before COVID may not stay. But if you're a company that is not funded, it is self-sustaining, what it has done to you is positive. For the first time, I've been saying this, Rishabh, for the first time, a lot of entrepreneurs are thinking of profitability month on month. They're thinking of making sure they make as much money as they spend. So either they bring their cost down or they take revenues up. Revenues up in most cases is not that easy, so they brought their cost down. So you can't have a broad-based answer, but if I had to say one common thread, I would say every entrepreneur, every business person, doesn't matter the size, has reevaluated his or her business, looked at the fundamental drivers, and tried to do two things at the same time. Look at survival month on month for the next 3 months, 6 months, and then fundamentally look at post that how to take a leap, what to add, which post surviving will add to a thriving of a different scale. I think that's the approach most have taken. Funds have by and far been less, except for very large funded players who've gone on to acquire smaller or mid-sized businesses because the valuations are more palatable and the entrepreneurs are in stress. Beyond that, I don't think there have been too many acquisitions or too many fundings.
Okay.
Most funds have gone into existing plays to make sure they stay in the play.
Okay, so let's
That's
get
what's
Rajesh.
happened.
Yeah, let's get Rajesh on this thought. So Rajesh, when do you make a call? I mean, how much do you wait it out, right? That look, it will eventually get back, but that might be 6 months, it might be 8 months, it might be, for you guys, the fall of next year. How do you then come up with a contingency? Is it simply that, listen, we are cost cutting all the way, just surviving until this comes back, or is there an alternative adaptation that you can do in the interim?
Yeah, so the runway is 6 months, 6 to 9 months, right? And you have to have enough cash to last that. The second thing which we have done is fundamentally change the business model. We are saying, can internships and research be done online? We have the best of professors, the best of industry experts who can go on live sessions and conduct these classes. And there is huge demand for that. The third thing we have done is, if we have to do this online, then how do we scale? And to scale, we are now on a recruitment drive. In fact, we are doubling our manpower starting this month, right? So fundamentally, if you look at what COVID has done is really connected the world. As you rightly said, you don't need an office in Singapore to have this done. So now my professors in Singapore or in the US can essentially go online. My guys from Amazon, from SoftBank, the Forbes 30 under 30 entrepreneurs, everybody can coach and train online. And there is a shift in the habit of users, which means
Okay,
the students.
so how is your is your content discovery, as in your company discovery, is your customer acquisition happening also online then primarily?
That's right. Customer acquisition is online, delivery is online. Both have become online now.
Okay, so
And we believe in 1 year it will be more blended, which means online plus experiential on campus.
okay, so as a conceptualization, does a shock like this then put you in the zone that, look, let us stabilize and then start, either if you are very comfortable, be looking to scale through acquisition, or let us stabilize and sell out if we get a good deal?
We are not looking at a sale. Personally, Corporate Gurukul and the company is not looking at a sale. We have done 2 acquisitions in Singapore in the last 3 months. And obviously, as you rightly said, we are looking at scale. This is the best time where you can acquire companies.
Okay, well, I've done my journalistic duty and got information out of you. Okay, Harsh, why don't you come in on this? My same question to you. When you guys are looking to scale, what's the biggest issue? Is the biggest issue right now that people just don't know about the possibility of the service? Is it still an editorial issue, getting the word out there issue? Is it a logistical issue? Or is it that after a point, there just aren't enough people who want to sell their own mobile phones?
So for us, it's actually 2 things right now. The primary thing itself is the phone upgrade process. So we saw an anti-China wave recently, where everybody was trying to just get rid of their phone. They didn't want to upgrade. They didn't want to take a new phone, because most of the phones are 80% of them are produced by China.
Correct. Or Chinese companies, correct.
Yeah. So they were not Chinese companies. Yeah. So they were not really looking to upgrade. But now, slowly and gradually, we see a demand coming in. People have started upgrading their phone, and we will continue to see that. So since we are a related industry, we are dependent on the phone upgrades and people buying new phones. And that is the only
It's like second-hand cars. I think Anurag wants to come in. Anurag, go ahead.
What I wanted to ask Harsh is, this anti-China sentiment, has it cost the Chinese brands? We know which ones are those.
Right.
Has it cost the market share in the phone segment, because they were really thriving pre-COVID? So has their market share slowed down, or it hasn't impacted them?
Well, the market shift, I would say there's a 5 to 7% shift in towards the other country manufacturing. But
no, I'm not talking of manufacturing. I'm talking of Chinese brands, Chinese-owned Chinese brands, which were the bestseller phones in India. Right. Have their sales been impacted? I'm not talking of manufacturing.
Yes.
5 to 10%?
Yeah, their sales have been impacted close to about to the tune of 20% is what I believe.
20%.
Right.
20%. That's a large number.
And
so the consumer sentiment is against buying Chinese products.
Right. The worst affected would be Vivo and Oppo from the data that we've received. Then see, the second part is that we need to ensure that we have logistics available, we have spare parts available to be able to refurbish these phones and bring it back as new. Which, again, for that as well, we are largely dependent on our supply chain, dependent on China. So that is impacted as well. So these are two things, if at all, see, these are welcome moves as well, because now if we see more manufacturing happening in India, we will see the cost of our product manufacturing and upgrade as well will go down.
So it will provide employment, it brings in money, it builds the microeconomy. So Devyanshi, have people acquired more pets in the lockdown? Because that pets make you emotionally more engaged, so to say. Has that happened? Because I know my kids during lockdown acquired a pet. So I am asking this question purely for that reason.
Absolutely, Anurag. So yes, a lot of people have, adopted pets, and in fact, a lot of people I personally know adopted pets, and the feedback I got was the lockdown was much easier because they got a pet home. However, on the flip side, what has happened is because of lack of resources, incomes getting stopped, the fear in general, a lot of pets have also been abandoned. So, as many adoptions have taken place, I've in fact heard equal number or more of abandonments as well. So, yes, very much the case. When you say it also affect, doctors have been saying it's good to have a pet as a companion to, fight mental health.
I think doctors have been under tremendous pressure because their clinics have been shut. They haven't been able to help patients as they would normally do.
Absolutely.
Their incomes have been impacted. The neighborhood clinics till July were practically shut. Plus, in some cases where they're frontline warriors or frontline responders, they've had to deal with emotional issues because of lack of PPE equipment, the number of cases, seeing deaths around them. So the mental stress was huge. Coming to you, Sunny, give us 2-3 trends in the future that you see accentuating, that you see becoming new normal. They may have emanated during the COVID times, but you think will become the new normal. Give us those trends.
So one thing is like when we work with all this set of retailers, those who already have offline and they have gone online. Other new age startup who have directly done good amount of investment in the online channels, right? So now we are seeing like suddenly there is a revolutionary shift towards the technology. So then technology they are leveraging for multiple layers. Like one is the management layer deciding, making informed decisions, because this is a time when you have least information available and it may be expiring within a week and you have to make a decision, what do I do with my supply chain or what do I do? So those insights. Then when you get that, how do you ensure the customer safety part? Because right now you have to use technology as well, how you can use AI, robotics to ensure like customer safety can be managed. So and then we see more offering than contactless deliveries. So I think these are going to be some of the permanent shifts which should happen in the retail as well. You see a lot of retailer as well terminating their lease agreements, and they are focusing more towards the online part. And the online sales, which was primarily like till now, it was perceived more as a discount sale. Right, I'll go online just for getting the discount. Right, I think that will also change. It will become one of the key channel as well.
Okay, and Harsh, if you had to predict one trend about gadgets, will overall spending by consumers on gadgets will go up post Diwali or around Diwali, or you see it being flat? Because as Devyanshi said, people have lost their jobs, they are saving for the future, so they're possibly repairing their mobile phones rather than buying a new one. So give us give us some data through which we can make sense of what is happening.
See, I anticipate a large shift in the purchase of tablets and iPads, because since we've seen most of the classes or online education has seen a big boost. So most of the users are now looking to procure gadgets such as tablets and iPads for their kids so that they can learn at home. We see a huge uptake in the laptop purchasing as well. So from that perspective, the industry is definitely going to see a surge gradually, because most of the education itself is going to be done on these gadgets itself. So from a perspective, if you say what we see, I am really confident that there will be a 15% increase in the sales post Diwali, and then that's going to continue at least for another 3 months.
Diwali is 14th November. In October, November, you're saying there will be 15% surge from current levels.
Correct. So while Diwali is there, the Diwali sales will actually start a month before. Amazon and Flipkart is just about to start their sales. In fact, there are a couple of sales that are going on already. So there is huge uptake on tablets and laptops, which is already there. But from a mobile phones perspective, see, for last 4 months, there was rarely any phone that was getting launched. Now every month there are about 10 to 15 phones that are getting launched. So the uptake will automatically start coming in.
Ram, yes, Rajesh, you go ahead, make a point.
He was touching upon education. I have a question. So, do you see this as a B2B sales or B2C sales?
It's B2C sales that I see because not schools are not procuring it, universities are not. These are eventually the end users who would procure. So I see a spike in retail sales versus B2B sales.
I want all of you entrepreneurs to be realistic and honest about this and give us what's in your mind and heart and not just give something that somebody else is doing. I'll start with Devyanshi. Devyanshi, in 6 months, do you see your business being better or worse? Do you see the Indian economy being better or worse? And I want an honest 6 months. I'm not talking, we know in the medium term and long term, India will do well. There's no question about it. But I'm talking in the immediate future.
Honestly, Anurag, in the next 6 months, which I assume is by January 2021, though there will be a very slow recovery, I don't see the economy recover completely because of the fear that still exists. I mean, even us, the people around us, we're still wary of meeting people or going outside, though the restaurants and malls have opened up. Shopping has shifted online completely. So, and even the pet industry, people are not going to go out for play dates and the events that used to happen. There were a lot of pet related gatherings and shows that used to take place every year. I don't see people going out that much because of the fear. So personally, in the next 6 months, I don't see a lot of recovery happening.
Okay, same question to Harsh Talwar.
I'm really optimistic about my industry and my company or the product that we're working on, purely because we are largely an unorganized sector. Only 10% sales of upgrade happens from an organized way. 90% users actually go to either the retail store or their nearby shops. We've seen a shift in the search as well. If you talk about online searches as well, they've grown by about 40%. Searches have already grown. Our cost of acquisition has gone down by 1/3. Purely because the volume is going up. So I'm really optimistic in users shifting their way of upgrading a phone. So most of the phones are purchased online now. I see that from a 10% market share that we have, we see that 20% will be attained in the near future from our side.
Okay, and what do you feel about the economy? See, you're in the gadget sector, technology sector. People, as you said, they like to upgrade.
See, the core driver
where
for
do you see the economy?
Yeah. See, as I said earlier as well, the core driver for the economy is cash in hand and this disposable income of the middle class group.
So are they saving it, and hence will it be?
See,
the normal tendency like it is now, or do you see it getting better?
Normal tendency is that people will save for next 6 to 9 months.
You agree with Devyanshi that in the short term, it still may be tepid. Rajesh Panda?
Yeah, so we have our plan laid out quarter on quarter for the next 1 year. We are taking that COVID will be there till June for sure. 60% of our revenues come from India, 40% from outside India. Indian revenues, we feel it will come down to about 30%. The overall company revenue. So the push is on other markets like Middle East. We are headquartered out of UAE and of course Singapore and Southeast Asia. So we look at revenues coming to almost pre-COVID levels by June, but India won't be a driver for that. From an Indian economy perspective, I strongly feel that it may not, because cash in hand is a big question, and our programs are top and premium programs. So I feel our segment and my business especially won't recover by next June. So 9 months, I think we'll still do about 30% from India.
And how have the Singaporeans or investors based in Singapore or expats you talk to, when they look at India, what is the sentiment you hear? or feel? What's the vibe you get from them?
See, Singapore is a rich economy. The per capita is the highest and it's a very.
And what do they think about India? What do they think
Yeah,
about
very
India?
good about India. See, the sector that we are in, education, is a long-term thing, right? And you have to make sure two things that don't happen. The objective is the same for everyone in the education segment. What has been impacted is the mode of delivery, right? Nothing else is impacted in education. The curriculum hasn't been impacted. The faculty is still there. What is changed is the mode of delivery. Now, what we need to gear up is to adapt that mode of delivery. And because there is a fear psychosis, we need to figure out how soon. And I don't have an answer to when the fear will go away on cash in hand. So we'll have to wait. Well, other economies have recovered. Like in Singapore, we don't have online classes. Or in UAE, they are all back to normal in-classroom sessions. So both my daughters go to school every day. In fact, I work from home. My daughters go to school. The universities are back in the classroom. So it is back and the fear psychosis is gone. So we are trying to cash in on these economies. But India, to answer your question, India, I don't see recovering at least till March for sure. Because the cases are going on everyday basis. So.
Okay, Rajesh. Sunny Nandwani, your prediction for the future for Indian economy. When do you see it coming back?
Yeah. So I'll talk about the IT sector. I come from the IT sector. So we are working with a lot of B2B clients in retail and supply chain space. I see like, yes, till vaccine, it will be up and down, but a V-shaped recovery will happen because we see them technology coming to their rescue, whether they are looking to streamline their operation or looking for more avenues of capturing the market share. Technology will play a pivotal role. So IT sector will surely play a very critical role and is going to here to stay.
Right. And when do you see the spends actually start to go up? Rightly, so we know that spends on technology are going up, but specifically, a lot of companies are also conserving cash. One thing that Rishabh happened when the quarterly results have been out, that the top line of a lot of companies have shrunk, but their profits have still gone up.
Yeah, that's
because because they controlled their costs so much that their profitability actually went up. The top line degrew, but in the lower sectors, the bottom line grew. So that's another trend from the corporate India's quarterly results. Sunny, you want to make a comment?
Yeah. We see now every industry, they are focusing back to the basic. Like how do I get me profitable, right? And how do I make those decisions which will increase my longevity and survival? So,
absolutely. You summed it up so beautifully, Sunny, that will ensure my survival and longevity. So resilience is also meant re-examining some of the bases of doing business and doing away with non-performing, expenses, costs, and focusing on what produces revenues. Ram, your final word.
It will take another 9 months to just people to start investing.
You are saying that Indian economy will be reborn 9 months.
But during this time, I feel it's golden opportunity for startups because a lot of companies have nothing major. Their portfolios have shrunk or not doing 100% capability, right? So they will be showing interest to invest in startups or help them or acquire them. A lot of opportunities are there for startups.
Because the valuations are more realistic and possibly more attractive than they were. Rishabh, what is your view? You also talk to a cross section of people. What is your own sense from what you talk to? You talk to policymakers, bureaucrats. You talk to entrepreneurs. You talk to experts in various sectors. What is your sense?
Okay, I'll simplify it in the best way. I've never been asked this question, ironically, considering I sit on TV, I don't know how many hours a day. The one good thing that has happened is that the doubt in consensus about the need to focus on the economy is gone. We were having these debates all through 2019 of whether it will be politically incorrect to start suggesting that the economy is in trouble and requires action. There is a clarity of purpose, and on that the gloves are off. On reform, on movement, this has happened. Now, is it going to happen fast enough? That remains a question. but at least you're seeing from every government department, every ministry, I have not seen focus like this before. You have literally ministerial level people, cabinet minister guy people, getting into industry bodies and telling them that this is what, how you guys need to move inventory. Okay. That you should take advantage of this scheme and move your inventory. Let's start selling. Don't wait for real estate. An example. Don't wait for another 3 years and sitting on profits on your books. Actually, go and sell to people. This is something that I haven't seen in a long period of time. Anurag, that's my take.
Thank you so much. I think what you are saying is the government understands that economy is important, lives are important, but livelihoods are equally important. There cannot be an either-or situation. And fairly, the government is doing the best it can. And I have full confidence, Rishabh, I'm saying it on Newsx, that over the next 4 to 8 weeks, you will see maybe an installment 2 and installment 3 of economic stimulus and reforms from the government.
It's coming, but 2020 won't be remembered for the year of stimulus. It'll be remembered for the year of reform. You're going to see more movement in that direction than particularly just stimulus. Basically, it's something systematically we all agree with. It doesn't cost the government any money to let all the people sitting on this panel get freed up to let them do their jobs. And more importantly, get the banks to be doing their jobs, which has been a bit of a problem and a sticky end. Thank you all. It's been a fascinating conversation as always. Let's keep an open-ended one. We hope to see you back on this broadcast soon with better news and better results from all your respective companies. And of course your industries.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.